Namaste, this is Sheshachalam from Astroguide Mysore. So, continuing our ongoing classes with the moon in different houses, today I'll be explaining about the moon in the third house. So, let us first understand what is the third house. There are many Karakatvas of the third house, and the most important Karakatva, that is the signification of the third house, is that of motivation. So, that is activity. So, when we say third house from ascendant, it is the activity of the person. So the third house from every other house also is the activity of the house which is before it. That is, the seventh house is the activity of the fifth house. The ninth house is the activity of the seventh house. So if you have negative planets or positive planets placed in the third from any house, you need to understand that that type of an activity will that person have for that particular house and its signification. So it is a little, it's complicated, but anyway, it's not that complicated. It has to be understood like that. So okay, here we are talking about the third house from the ascendant only. So moon is a very soft planet, extremely good, pure and intellectual planet, having a lot of vocabulary with regard to language, with regard to understanding different emotions, situations. So this person is a socially recognized and socially little a person with fame. That is, he can be called in for discussions where there are disputes, arguments, like a family person who can sit and sort out things. So something like that. This is also because this particular placement will make the person spiritually inclined. So he will, because that is the seventh from the ninth house. So it is the opposite to the ninth house, and usually, once again I am giving you another thumb rule, any planet sitting in opposite to any house will oppose that house. If it is a benefic planet sitting in the opposite, it will oppose it less. And this is the most softest of planets. So it will not oppose, actually it will become good. So the aspect of moon over the ninth or moon sitting in the third house will make a person spiritually inclined, going into the spiritual texts, going into understanding, going under a master, because ninth house is the master. It is the spiritual master or the guide for any person in this world. So if a bad ninth house, you should understand what sort of a guide you will get. If you have a good ninth house, you will understand what sort of a good guide you will get. So now moon aspecting the ninth house, you will get a fantastic guide, because one of the strong soft influences of moon is over the ninth house. So now let us not stick to the ninth house. We will come back to the third house. Very courageous, but he will never go for a fight or never physically go into verbal conflict. So that means courageous in the sense that these people can become very good journalists. The third house represents the hand. So writing, painting, sketching, drawing, architects, all these dentists, fantastic occupations where actually the dexterity of the fingers, the dexterity of the nerves, that is the hands, is required for executing, like sculptor, like a carving. Excuse me for this sound which is happening once again, because my neighbor is getting some carpentry done. So in this aspect they are courageous because they can become very good lawyers. They can argue. Their intellect is fantastic. The memory power is very good. So the third house moon has a lot of fantastic abilities to the native. He does not get physically attracted to beauty, simply getting attracted to people. So they don't get attracted just like that. So they get attracted to intellectual beauty. That is the beauty, the actually the brains behind the beauty. So they get attracted to the brains rather than the beauty. So you should know, if you know the person has a third house moon, you need to change the way you have to attract him. You need to show your intellectual skills, so he will get attracted to you. So just giving, nobody will know the horoscope before falling in love. So I am just joking. So The communication, usually moon is a very talkative planet and he keeps on talking. So but in this case, because moon is well placed in the third house, I'm just talking about the well placed moon for the first half. So the moon well placed in the third house will give reserved communication. That means this person is not at all anymore talkative. He is very reserved. He is silent. He talks only when it is required. And because of this, he will have perfect communication between whoever he is talking to. You can understand that a person who talks less will think and then speak. So this person will pause, think, and speak, which is one of the most important things for keeping a good conversation, which will be meaningful. So very good bonding with siblings because the third house represents siblings. That is one of the major karakatwas, that is the signification of the third house, siblings. And also communication is also one of the karakatwas of the third house. Writing is there, so their writing will be very beautiful, fluent. The language will be good. They can be very good novelists, document writers. They can be content writers. They can become journalists. So many things. They can also be into marketing field because moon represents business, and people who are having moon in the third house can go on for short business travel trips. So mostly in marketing area, in the field of marketing and sales. So they like to go into research because it is the 11th from the 5th and 7th from the ninth. So you have a planet which is placed in a very good position from both the trikonas, the major trikonas, the 5th house and the ninth house, the ascendant. So the ascendant, it is in the third, it is in the 7th from the ninth, and it is in the 11th from the 5th. So it's in a good position from these trines. So the person will have the motivation to go into research, go into deeper research. And most of the times these people will not go into technical research, but they will go into like chemistry, like it's also technical, but still they will go into soft sciences more, like more into languages and HR, so man management and all these things. They are very good at hotel management. They are very good at airlines. All these where soft skills are required. They are fantastic. So they will have a very good relationship with mother, and because it is the 12th from the 4th, that is moon has got disposed to the 12th from the 4th house. So what will happen is that the native will have to get somewhere in some part of his life when it gets triggered, depending on where the moon is positive, where when the moon's dasha is going to come in the native's life, the person will have to stay far away from mother. We'll call it a physical separation, nothing else. Maybe going abroad or going to a hostel or something like that. But he will be fine. That is, the relationship with mother is fantastic. Only if there is a debilitation or if there is a negative planet placed along with moon like Ketu, Saturn, or Rahu, then there will be some difficulty to the mother of the native. Even the native himself will have mentally challenged difficulties, like he will not have the strength to focus. So if it is negative, let us come to this point. This is very important. Bad speech, verbal conflicts, and defective speech, sometimes stammering. With regard to communication, that is, these people are fine when they are speaking at home. They feel fine. When they go to the stage, they have the fear. They can't speak well. So this speech defect is not that it is physically stammering, but it is like it is situational stammering. It happens. So they are fearful, and sometimes they lie and become dishonest. This is all when it is negative, and they will always get continuously annoyed, worrisome, annoyed, with short temper, always having a negative perspective towards what is life. They'll always feel that you do this, it will not happen, you are going to fail. So unnecessarily they will involve into others' businesses. They will try to give advice because the third house, when it is well placed, they will give good advice and they'll start preaching well. But they will not talk much. They will preach only when it is required. But when it is ill placed, they will talk when it is not required, and then they'll got caught in the unnecessary dialogues. So, bad relationship with mother once again. Maybe there is a difficulty for the mother if it is negatively placed in the third house. and again bad relationship with the siblings. They will not talk with their siblings for a number of years. All this can happen when there is a very tough combination and a weak moon in the third house. So usually, as I said earlier, moon in the third house gives short journeys, vacation trips, going abroad for vacation. All these things, a fantastically placed moon in the third house will give good education also, because we know the fifth is education, that is the third from the third, that is in the bhavat bhava principle, it is the third from the third, that is 1 2 3 and again 3 4 5, so it is third from the third. So in astrology we need to understand the bhavat bhava principles in depth along with the dispositive principles. So these two things will help a lot to understand how actually the planets are placed and how the bhava is influenced. So thank you very much for today's class. I hope I have covered ample subject, but this is not in detail. I will be taking some more you know brief classes like this, which will finish off, and then I will again come back into detailed classes. Thank you very much.